Hello, everyone, and welcome to Real Chat with Kat, a podcast dedicated to offering a growth mindset platform for us entrepreneurs, where we discuss everything from business, mindset, to life in general. I'm your host, Catherine Polsinelli, a business organizing powerhouse, personal development strategist, and owner of Agent Services Plus, a company focused on helping entrepreneurs just like you build, grow, and be courageous in their business. I'm so excited to have you with us today, so grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage and get ready to have some amazing conversations and fantastic takeaways. Let's jump right in. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today at the episode of Real Chat with Kat. I have Miss Donna here. I'm so excited to have you here today. So thank you so much for joining me. Please, Donna, tell us who you are, what it is that you do, and kind of what got you into that.
Thank you so much. It's such a joy to be here and share the light and the space with you today. I'm just really pumped and excited. I love your podcast. I love the whole premise of it. I am a life and soul coach, a Reiki Master, a psychic medium, and empath. I also am an aura and angel intuitive. I didn't start this business and move into this part of my life until I was in my mid 60s, and I'm now in my early 70s. And I can tell you I have never been more passionate, more alive, more engaged, and more in love with what I'm doing and the people I work with. I help women and a few brave men to pivot through difficult challenges in their life, whatever the situation, with purpose and love and calm and coherence, to create a space of sacred soul self in which all things are possible. And to do that, we connect daily with the field of infinite unity, of which we are one. And that's it in a nutshell. How I came to that is by acquiring a PhD in life through polio, blindness, 3 bouts with cancer, 2 divorces, a couple of life-saving events, and 4 near-death experiences. So I have no PhD in the academic world. I have an extremely large PhD in life.
I love that. I think that's the best PhD to have right there.
It is.
That is full experience. And you know what? That is one thing that really struck me with your story is all of the different things that you have gone through, yet you have continued on, and within that have set up all these different things that you enjoy doing within your life. So can I ask you, what moment was it for you where you really felt like things needed to change and you needed to make a shift, and your shift was to help others?
There were multiple moments. It wasn't one decision. It was a lifetime of choices, some of which brought me great success and joy, and some of which brought me great failure. And through that challenge, great joy in overcoming what I perceived as failure and turning it into a stepping stone for growth. Challenges and failure don't define us, they refine us. And, you know, we remember the hard times and the times we had to really step into our power so much more than we remember the joy. Joy is wonderful, and it's bubbly and it's fleeting, and we like to live there every moment if we could. And yet it's fleeting. We have the real, ketchup and mustard of life to deal with, and it can get messy. And I had some really messy, hard times in my life. And through them, I discovered so much power. And then I had these near-death experiences that aligned me with spirit. And they were quite significantly. By the way, my voice goes croaky when spirit's coming in. So this just means that the whole crew is gathering behind us here. It was not one thing. But in my mid-60s, my husband and my soulmate and the most beautiful human on the planet said to me, you do all of these other things and you've had all of these other businesses. What you really are is a coach, a healer, and a leader. So, when are you going to start doing that? And that was at 64. It still took me another 4 years to get my head around what that looked like. And it was incremental baby steps with huge life experiences. And through that, I knew it was divinely driven because everyone I needed to align with or that needed to align with me came into focus at exactly the right time. And through that, it was all very soul based. And I felt really full of love, full of light, full of all that's in creation, connected to God, creator, source, whatever that is for you. And also really listening to my guides and angels and tapping into that inherent intuitive knowledge I had always had and yet shut down early in my life because it wasn't accepted or appreciated. I was too different. And now it's okay to be different, right? You can be anything you want to be and just TikTok it or YouTube it and away you go. I
Yep.
can't say that I'm really good at the TikTok and the YouTube. I'm very good at one-on-one. So that's the way I roll.
I love that. And I love that you said that you took your failures as a stepping stone, which I think is something that a lot of people forget. And I deal with a lot of people in the entrepreneurial world. And I do think that that is something that we are constantly forgetting is a lot of people get stuck on the failure piece of it. And they forget that that failure means that now you get to learn from it. And now you get to figure out a way to implement it so that you can better yourself in the future. What's your take on that?
Failure is an opportunity. It is not an end. It is a beginning. It is an opportunity to dig deep, to look past the concerns, the constrictions, the restrictions, the contractions that we all go through when we don't feel that we're living up to our goal or our purpose. And that's when you have to realize that your purpose is to live on purpose, with purpose, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever is happening, whoever you're with. And when you live from that space, there is no failure. There is only opportunity to know and grow and learn. That's why I named my business Soulful, Full Solutions, because you have to go from, the mind map and the heart map and marry the two of them and get into calm and coherence to create this sacred soul self that you can then live and grow from. And so my motto is, you grow, you flow, and you glow. And when you glow, your light attracts the light to you that needs you. And you need that light so that you can share and grow as well.
I definitely agree with that. And it's funny because that's something that I used to tell my kids as well. So I was in an 8-year abusive relationship. And when I came out of that, I, really started trying to figure out who on earth I was. So completely starting over with 2 kids and losing your identity is a huge shift. And it took me a really long time. But one thing that I laugh at myself now that I used to do back then that I didn't even realize was I always told my kids positivity attracts positivity, right? So if you are always constantly being negative, you're going to bring that negative into your life. And it's funny because I have no clue where that came from or why I started saying that. I just know it became a part of me. And now it's something that I truly believe in, I really focus on, and I really make sure that other people are aware of it as well, because it really does come down to that. It's just like those that talk about your circle of people. If your circle of influence, your circle of people are all negative, guess what you're going to find yourself doing? If they're not looking to achieve higher goals, guess what you're going to end up finding yourself doing? So it's the same concept, and it's in every area of our life, which is really unique when you think about it, because we think that everything is so separate, and it really isn't. It's very collaborative and washing together kind of moments that, like you said, marry everything together.
Exactly. And the union is something you choose, even when you don't know that at the spiritual level, you've chosen each one of these lessons to define you and refine you and bring you through the challenge of what you might perceive as failure into the greatest success. Your next stepping stone of success is the realization that you are the power. Nobody else can do it for you. You're going to have lots of help from your guides, guardians, and source. You have to do the work. You have to take the steps. You have to say, okay. And I always use the stepping stones and the steps as an analogy, because when I was going through my second divorce after a marriage of 23 years, and I was your age, I was devastated, and I thought it was the biggest failure in my life. And on top of that, I had moved home. I had 2 children. I had this house, this cabin in the woods kind of place where I was renovating, and everything was falling apart. I was falling apart. And then my home was flooded 3 times. I lived on the side of a mountain. And I remember sitting on my steps to my basement, and I had a big water tank that was full of 850 gallons. And the force of the water coming through my basement was so strong, it had ripped that and turned it upside down. And the 850 gallons in that spilled out into the hundreds and hundreds of gallons that were in the basement.
Oh,
And
wow.
this rope was floating around from the lid, and it was coming up in a circle, just like a hangman's noose to me, because that was the rope we hung. And for a very, very deep second or minute or two, I actually thought it would be so easy to just put that rope over my head and be pulled into the water. And honestly, there was an angelic intervention, and the voice said, "Not your time, not your way. Get up and get the hell out of here." And I thought, wow, yeah, I get it. And I had multiple steps like that going forward, where I had to pull myself up by the bootstraps. And, my mom used to say, chin up, shoulders back, tits up, smile, go. And that was a tits up moment,
Yeah, for sure. I completely understand that. Now, tell me this, with a lot of the people that you work with, I'm sure that you see a lot of people that feel very stuck in whatever it is they're doing or wherever it is in their life. What would you say is something that you commonly tend to tell people that are just looking to start figuring out who they are or where the heck they're at or where they can get that guidance from?
Well, the first thing I do is they get my Zero to Clarity toolkit. And that consists of a clearing prayer, clearing and manifesting prayer. It consists of an angel invocation, and then a very specifically targeted affirmation meditation card for each chakra. So one of my main gifts is that I can see auras and chakras. And that came with my blindness in childhood. So I couldn't see people close unless they were close up. I couldn't see you. But if you were 3 feet away, you were just color and light. Everybody looked like some beautiful Christmas tree to me, shining all of their lights and twinkling. And I could see where the gray areas were, where the light wasn't so bright, and what part of the body it was attached to. And so I could work with addressing that energy. And then I realized I could shift and I could move energy. And that led me to study Reiki and other, healing modalities, EFT tapping, a whole bunch, you name it, I've got it. And I did all of these for me one by one. I must have taken 1,000 courses over the last 45 years, maybe 2,000. And I thought I was doing every one for me. No, I was divinely guided to them because they would become a part of my future 40 years later practice with my clients. So I do the toolkit with them. I lead them through several principles that I downloaded from my near-death experiences. And the first one being is all there is love. If you think that there's anything else, then you're wrong. You'll find it out sooner or later. I hope you don't have to wait until you're dead, because you're not dead either. It's just another dimension. So the calm principle is where I start all the time, because if we are not in calm and coherence, we are in chaos and incoherence. And from chaos and incoherence, you cannot create calm. You cannot move to love. You cannot move to grace. And, I always say love is big, but grace is bigger. Grace is for those times in your life, those spaces, those people, those interactions where you cannot feel the love. And that happens a lot. You have to deal with a person, a place, or a situation, and there is no love or feeling of love in it. That's where grace comes in, because grace gives you the strength and the power to be the love for yourself and show up and deal with it, whether you love it or not. You know that you are love and you love yourself. And therefore you can move into grace and have what you need to be, do have in that moment. Does that make sense?
That makes total sense. It's funny too, because it's something that I talk with a lot of people about, is finding those small pieces that you can start finding in your life so that you can be present, because we do live in a society where there's apps all over the place, and there's Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and all of the crap that we get sucked into. And a lot of us aren't actually living our life. We're just floating through it because we are so stuck in the subconscious and the habit piece of it that we don't even realize what we're doing. And so I really enjoy focusing. And it's funny because I had to learn that myself before now I teach it to other people. But I really try to get people to understand that if you can take just a few moments of the day where you just walk away from the computer and take a deep breath, or step outside to break yourself out of whatever subconscious section that you're stuck in, it really does help you understand where you are at versus floating through life.
Very, very observant and true.
And it's interesting too, that a lot of the things that I feel like most people that I've talked with that are in the coaching or the spiritual world, we started out with learning things to cope with things we had been through. And then from there, we now get to help show others that way. So that's always been a really interesting fact to me. Especially seeing myself go through that, to realize that a lot of the things that I learn or I want to learn, it's really because it's probably something I need. Then I can use it to help other people, but we have to have that experience first.
Exactly. One of the things I work on a lot with my clients is what purpose means to them. What is purposeful, and what is the meaning of purpose? And I take them through the sacred laws and the sacred circles and the spaces where purpose is the space. Mm-hmm. And we often confuse purpose with occupation, or I'm a mother, I'm a father, your purpose is one purpose, and that is to grow as a human being and a human soul in a human body. I tell people, you're either a human being or a human doing. Which do you want to be? Would you rather be or do? If you are a being, you are inclusive of all things. If you are a doing, you're doing and doing and doing. And quite often you end up with doo-doo. And it's not very pretty. And that's also a challenge. You have to clean yourself up, stand up, take a bath, get going again. And the bath of light is what I'm referring to. So one of the things I really like is when people realize, I use the analogy of a river a lot. Because essentially, we are a river of energy that has chosen to encompass a human body. And it's very hard. If you had any idea of how much you have to compress your soul to withstand a human body, that's very, very small space, and the gravity of being on a planet, it's incredible. That's quite often the reason why there are a lot of miscarriages and stillbirths and abortions, because it is a soul choice. Even though it may seem like the human choice of the moment, it's actually a soul choice, because that soul is not able to withstand the gravitas of an earthly body at this time. The good news is they always cycle back, whether it's in this lifetime or a next lifetime. So that was one of the first things I learned when I popped to the other side, is how our cycles of lifetimes are also a stepping stone. Just like we're in the university of life on earth as a soul here, when we cross over, we're in the university of life in soul time. And it's really, really incredible, because it's just like school here, only bigger, brighter, better, and you can't fail. There's no failure. There's only growth and success in every level of your being. And when you can translate that to your human life in even a small way, there's nothing but joy and success, regardless of what shows up.
I love that analogy too, of it's a beautiful way to put those that aren't able to come through on this earth for whatever reason it may be, right? I have a sister that had a miscarriage and stuff as well. And that is such a beautiful way to look at it and to think about it, because so many people get stuck in feeling like it's their fault.
Exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
I absolutely love that. I'm actually going to share that with her when we hop off, because I think that's so beautiful to think of it that way and understand that things aren't always in our control. And that's something I had a really hard time with understanding when I got out of my abusive relationship, because as my boys got older, which they're 18 and 15 now, I started noticing certain things or certain ways they dealt with stuff or certain things they were going through. And I knew that a lot of the things that they were dealing with or handling was because of what they had saw, what they had grown up with. And so I had a really, really hard time with understanding that it wasn't all my fault, because that's, as a mother, right, that's all that I felt was, I put them in that situation. I allowed them to be in that long. It's my fault that they are doing this, that they're going through this, that they're handling all of this. And I had a mentor one time that asked me, she said, did you ever think that maybe that was the journey they were supposed to take so that they could become something more? Same thing like you. And it was a light bulb, but at the same time, it was like, to let go of the guilt was actually interesting, to be able to let go of that and know that it wasn't all me. It's not that I'm accepting it or not taking blame for what I did and what I went through, but especially seeing my kids now and how they are growing and how I have grown. So now I get to teach them the things I wish I would have known back then. I get to now see them blossom in a different way. And I hope that that allows them to take quicker steps in their life and understand things in their life that they need to, versus me, who had to wait till she was in her 30s before understanding a lot of that.
So the very great painful challenge, which you did choose as a life lesson, has actually empowered you to be a better, brighter, more loving, more giving, more tuned in mom. How great is that?
Yeah.
And that's a true fact. I mean, I do aura imaging, and I can take the image and read it for the person. And I can't tell you how many women are stunned when they sit down. And I said, so you had a miscarriage early on in your very young life, and then you had a second miscarriage later on. They go, how do you know that? And I said, well, it's right here in the picture. You know, this little light right here that's in your field, that is a soul light that didn't be on a human experience. Therefore, it was miscarried or it was aborted, and it doesn't feel like an abortion because there's not the trauma that's around that, around this light. And so they're so shocked, especially the women that have had abortions for some reason beyond our fathom. And they say they have this incredible load of guilt and pain. And I say, no, this is an experience that you chose at a soul level to empower both of the souls to grow into better souls. And that little soul is still in your field. And whether it incarnates with you in this lifetime or it incarnates with you in another lifetime, you are the mother figure this soul has chosen. So there are no accidents. And with adoptions, it's the same thing. Those children choose before they're ever incarnated in a life that isn't with their adoptive parents to experience that, to move to the adoptive circle. And they're to do that so that they can change and grow lives from that experience.
I absolutely love that. It's so beautiful. So before we end, Donna, one of my favorite things to do with everybody is to bring a piece of positivity or a piece of advice or saying or something that you tend to go to that you could share with the audience so that they could have a takeaway from today's conversation.
Two things. When you say I am, you are actually manifesting the energy of creation, and all of your cheerleading squad on the other side gathers together. So when you say I am, they're waiting to help you fulfill whatever it is you're declaring yourself to be. So if you're going to say I am something negative, please change it to I am feeling whatever, because feeling gives your God squad a chance to work with the energy to help you have the highest result from what you're feeling in that manner that's in the highest good of all concerned. If you are going to declare something beautiful, I am love, I am light, I am a great mom, please declare it over and over again, and they're just going to give you more of that energy. So watch your I ams. The second thing, and I'm sure everybody's heard no ifs, ands, buts, or maybes in your life. However, the biggest one of all is but. If you can do nothing else with your language as a human being, eliminate the word but from your life. If I'm talking to you and every word, every single word you say has energy, and it attracts light energy. So if you dwell in your speaking world with negative ifs, ands, buts, or maybes, that's what you're gonna create. And if I said to you, oh, wow, Kat, I just love you, but immediately, when I say, I just love you, the big smile comes up and I go, but the smile disappears. And when you answer the phone or you go to look at someone, put that smile on your face, regardless of the situation. Put the love in your heart before you open your mouth. Take a step back, especially if you're in a challenging situation. And if you can't say something, use grace. And if you can't use grace, then get the hell out of there. Because it will only boomerang on you. It will have no effect energetically on the person that you're dealing with or the situation that you're dealing with.
I absolutely love that. Well, thank you, Donna, so much for all the amazing information and the analogies. This is absolutely beautiful. Please tell us, how can everybody connect with you, work with you, follow you online so that the audience can reach out?
It's really simple. My website is www.donnafairhurst.com, FAIRHURST.com, capital D, capital F. And my office phone number is 778-622-1743. And my email is donna@donnafairhurst.com. Reach out. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you go on the website, you can receive a complimentary 30-minute Zero to Clarity call with me. And you can also collect my clearing and manifesting prayer.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I'll have all that information in the show notes as well. So again, Donna, thank you so much for being a guest today. It was a pleasure. And to everybody that's out there, I hope you got some amazing takeaways from today's episode. And don't forget, until next time, please do one thing positive for somebody else each and every day and see how it changes your life. So until next time.
Hello again, and thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you absolutely loved what you heard, please be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review so we can keep the good stuff rolling. Got something you'd love to hear us discuss? Then be sure to message me on social media and let's work together to spread even more amazing content. And if you haven't yet connected with me on social media, be sure to follow along at Agent Services Plus. I'm so excited to connect with you on the next episode, and until next time, be sure to find things that help you learn, grow, and be inspired.